Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Consciousness with your luscious hostess, May Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time. Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Consciousness.
I don't know why this is doing
with your luscious hostess, May Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time.
Oh no. Oh. Ah! I can't even stop this.
Sex, Lies, and Consciousness.
I don't know why this is
with your luscious hostess, May Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time.
Oh God. Okay, I don't really know how to stop this craziness. Okay. Oh. What's it doing? Well, I'm glad that you guys are cracking up over there. Over here, I'm not. I don't know what Blog Talk Radio is doing, and I have a really fun show today. And it keeps repeating this loop endlessly.
Another window open.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you guys are cracking up over there. Over here, I'm not. I don't know what Blog Talk Radio is doing, and I have a really fun show today. And it keeps repeating this loop endlessly. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about that. Here we go. All right. Hi, everyone. Terrible way to start a show. But here we are. Welcome to today's show. I am really, really excited about this show, and I'm glad that I fixed the craziness so that we can move on with this. I have with me my friend and colleague, Dala Mersman, who has always been such a champion on every crazy adventure and new things that I explore and share with her. So today she has graciously agreed to come on and be my interviewer to ask me about this world that I'm discussing and actually sharing with you called the Dominatrix world. This world has been presented in a dark, leathery, scary ways, and it's been misunderstood, misrepresented, abused, hurt. There's just a lot of stuff that gets dumped in this world. And I am actually a newbie at this. I had the fortune of getting to play with a few really great master and teacher in this art. And for me, I don't see it as a scary and abusive world at all. I actually see and have felt the power in this world and how much it has healed me in my relationship with sex, power, and pain, and all whatever else that comes with this. So I wanted to have an opportunity to share it from a straight woman, very vanilla in her sexuality, who discovered a totally different angle to this world. So, Dollar, welcome to the call, honey.
Good afternoon.
You sound so formal. You already sound like a mistress. Good afternoon.
I don't know about that, May.
Okay. So, Dollar, tell them a little bit about yourself, honey. Like where you are in regard to this subject, so that people know where we're coming from.
Well, I don't have a lot of experience with this. My knowledge of it is very, very limited. I've spoke to a few people probably over the last 10 years who have been in this dominatrix submissive world, and my understanding about it was pretty dark, I would say. And so when the subject came up, I felt, well, if May is dabbling in this, then there's got to be some light about this topic, and I was hoping you might be able to shed some light on what this is like for you and what it's about.
I would be more than happy to. It would be my greatest honor and pleasure. So start me somewhere. Ask me something.
Okay, so my first curiosity about this is how do you go from sorry about, I might have some background noise. How do you go from the straight, vanilla, sexual woman into exploring dominatrix? Like, what was the curiosity for you? Where did that begin?
That question seems so simple, and yet it has such a big, long story behind it. Let me see how I can bottom line that. You know, I was 39. And I was very straight and vanilla and boring and did not really enjoy sex with my husband at all and all this stuff. And then one day we decided that to open up our marriage and allow for exploration. Like, we knew nothing about this. I was just compelled by my inner voice to explore, and I suppressed that voice for, like, oh my gosh, most of my life, all of my life, and specifically I suppressed that voice for like 3 or 4 years before I responded to her. So I just had this inclination that I got to go and explore my sexuality, and my husband was very much in supportive of that. And the minute I said yes, the very first lover that came into my life came with leather and whips, and I knew nothing about it. And when I hear leather and whips, I used to go, la, 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 la. Oh, my God, what are you talking about? This is sinful, and this is terrible. I'm completely in danger, and oh, my God, what is so wrong? What's wrong with me? And so all of that just went through my mind and ran me, and I was very confronted. So that was how I started.
So
I know it's an incomplete answer, but I had to stop somewhere.
Well, yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think that, it kind of gives a little bit of history about that. And so it kind of leads to another question that I have, which is, did you always know that you had this component about your sexuality? Was it always kind of there underneath, or were you surprised by it?
I was completely surprised by it because I knew nothing about it, and I grew up with a father who used to hit me all the time. And so I mean, I have built my whole life around keeping myself safe and away from anything that looks like I could be in trouble, in danger, right? So that has always been my cocoon, my shelter around me. So I mean, the image and the thought of anything that comes close to this, I was so disgusted and so not ever wanting that. I never even thought that I would come close to it. I mean, I'm also was raised Catholic, so all of this is just so sinful and not right.
Oh, goodness. So
how did you leap?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how did this land for you? How did that, stick, and you went, okay, I'm going to try this?
Yeah, how did it start? What was the first time? What happened?
What happened, May?
It's so funny because it's not logical. Because if it was logical and planned out, I would never have come close to it. But like I said, I was so lucky that my first lover was a beginner at it. So he was kind of like, he was introducing me to it. Like, here's a flogger. Like, I don't even know what a flogger meant, right? Here's a flogger, and I touch it and I go, Rah! And then I just felt his power. So I think the first step was that the way he was in bed was so much more powerful than the way my husband was. And powerful, he didn't do anything to me, but just the way he owned his position, the way he can just flip me around, the way he can just say, get down on your knees. My husband would never dare say that to me, because that would be so disrespectful and so hurtful and all whatever, that we have contracted for as a vanilla couple. I say that just as a shorthand. I don't mean to put us down, like my normal beginning. So anyway, that was, I felt his power, and I felt how our sex play was so different than how my husband and I had sex play, and so it got me curious. And then the second lover. Let me just tell you about my second lover. The second lover. Now that really put me straight in it, and after that, I know what happened, but I didn't want out of it, because the first time that we met, I came up to him, like in my normal MO, normal self, need to be liked, am I cute enough, am I good enough kind of thing, and he approached me and he just grabbed my throat and shoved me up against the wall and kissed me and then fingered me, and I was like, oh, what is this? It was just so incredibly hot, and at the same time almost felt like violating, and yet it's not. So all of this fireworks and craziness just happened, and then he didn't know how to play the mind game that just got me completely off of everything that I had around me to control the situation. So it was just an incredible eye-opening journey with him.
So, like when this is all happening, you're feeling, you're like shocked and stunned about it, but yet you're feeling some safety around it. Like, I know this man and he's not going to hurt me. Holy heck, what's happening right now?
That's a very important question that you just asked, because I'm at a place. When I started exploring this world, I was turning 40. So I got 40 years in my belt, and I have done so much work, personal growth work, growing my own leadership and knowing who I am. So I felt really empowered in me. I may be new in this arena, but I know how to work with people. I know how to say no and mean no. I know how to have boundaries. So I didn't come into it as a victim. I come into it as a full-grown woman who is willing to explore and negotiate. So when I play with these people, I've had conversations with them. I know who they are as a human being. So I didn't just kind of like, I didn't go into it to earn love and to try to get a man. I went into it to find out about who I am and understand this world. So energetically, I didn't put myself as a victim. And I think that's a very important component in this that most people don't understand, have a hold off in themselves. And so they put themselves, they create actually situations where it's not reliable for them, because they weren't caring for themselves that way. So I just knew that I'm safe, and I knew that I can get out of it, and I knew who I was playing with. So I came in as a full-grown woman. I didn't come in as some girl or some woman who is helpless, who wants to be safe, who wants to be rescued, who want to, all that crap that we do in our head that disempower us.
Yeah, and the word broken keeps coming to mind.
Yeah, and I don't want to be arrogant about this. I wanted to say that I did encounter a couple of people that were a little off, and because I took the time to email them, to talk to them, clearly, so I was able to flush it out before I engaged with them. So I always went in with care. I didn't just go in blindly and hoping to be saved by somebody.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think maybe that's where some of the darkness comes in, and I think our experience and our ideas around it, that there are people out there doing this for maybe the wrong reasons and really getting involved in a world that is not healthy.
Yeah, and I hear this all the time, and I was one of those people too. Like, we don't know anything about this world, but the first thing that comes out of our mouth is, it's a world that could really go wrong, and it's unhealthy, and you all should be careful. And it's like, well, how do you know? Have you explored it? Have you tried it? So I think there's something that we all are colluding into this. We keep repeating. It's kind of like reminding me. That's funny, how my show started today, where the thing got looped over and over again. It's kind of like that with this subject in mass consciousness. We don't know what this is, but we keep looping this fear around,
Yeah, and maybe I wonder what that is about for people. But I guess we don't need to maybe talk about that, because I'm really more interested in what it is about for you.
Thank you.
What you're bringing to it and how you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that keeps coming to mind as you're talking about some of your history with it is, it sounds like you've had some history with more of a submissive role, and yet we're talking about dominatrix. So is there an evolution there?
Yes. Well, first let's define the roles, because a lot of people don't even know these language. So it's a whole new world with language and etiquettes and behaviors. So the first few vocabularies that we need to introduce is like the top and the bottom, or the dom or domina and the submissive, right? So it's kind of like that. If you think about it in sexual position, the top is the one on top, and you're the bottom being done to.
Okay.
That's the same as dominatrix or dom to a submissive, like someone who's willing to submit themselves. And yes, my entry point was as a sub. I'm a very strong, powerful woman, as you know, and a lot of people probably know. And I'm very competent, and my brain works really well, and I can execute and handle everything. And to get in a sexual play, to get to be the submissive, where great things are being done to me for my sake, for my pleasure, for my orgasm, is such a great thing, to be able to just surrender so that I can just be taken by my man. It's just the most erotic and yummy and grateful things that I could experience. So I'm a great sub. And and another thing that we need to let the audience know is that all good play are negotiated ahead of time. So where a lot of misconceptions happen is that when we see this world, we see someone dressed up in leather and whipped, and it looks like they're pounding away at this other person that is the submissive. And you see this in Hollywood movies all the time, and it's so awful because they don't show the carefully designed conversation ahead of time. Like, there's a great negotiation ahead of time. Like, here's the safe word. This is what you get to say when you want to stop the scene or when you need to adjust. And then the bottom is actually the one that has all the power, that gets to direct what she or he wants to experience. And then the top works butt off to create that experience, to please the bottom, to get the bottom off. So it's all a mind play, and it's almost like I feel kind of bad because I feel like I'm revealing the secret behind magic act or something. But I think I need to, because we think that this is an abusive world, and the person on top is doing stuff just to get off on their own thing. A lot of the master that I play with, when they set up a scene for me and they work through 2 hours just for my pleasure, they are so exhausted at the end they couldn't even fuck, because it was just like, it was all for you, honey, and it's not for me. So I provided a great service for you so that you had some breakthrough and all that, and now I'm gonna go rest now because I'm exhausted. So it's a very interesting world that people don't realize.
And I think that's a huge misconception and myth, and kind of breaking that open and exposing that for what it really is, instead of what we see it as.
Yeah,
is really helpful.
Right, and the top is such a tricky role. That's why I haven't been the top for a long time, because who wants to take on that responsibility? I'd rather be the bottom, like, here's what I want to experience, and, spend 2 hours working on my body so that I can just be so open and so receiving and come over and over and over again. I think being a bottom is like the way to go here. I mean, when I met really good top, really good domina and dominatrix, they spend hours ahead of time preparing for that night's engagement. They sit there and they look at all their ropes and they decide which texture of the ropes to tie me up in. Like, are they going to use hemp? Hemp rope is really harsh, and so it creates this kind of sensation. Silk rope, on the other hand, is really soft, and it creates this kind of sensation. Where would they tie that on this woman's body? And then, which kind of whip shall, and how do they build up a scene, and how do they play the mind game so that I could feel danger, yet I know the game, yet I could still feel danger and feel the heat and the hotness and feel like I'm being controlled by someone else, even though I know at the bottom of it I'm in control. Like, how good does life get?
It's really interesting because it's an opposite understanding of what I think we normally think of when we see this. Because the submissive, it seems like, is almost the person who is on the more receiving end. And the dominant person is, like you said, doing all the work. And when we view it or we see it in Hollywood or however we see that, I think we see the dominating person as the one who is on the receiving end.
Yeah, exactly. I had this really interesting thing that just happened yesterday. I was watching some porn with my boyfriend, and we normally watch the vanilla kind, and it's all made for men, the guy doing the girl and shoves and all this stuff. And then he went to the BDSM. The BDSM stand for, I can't think of that. What does that stand for? What we're talking about here, the Dominatrix world. So we went to that website, and you watch that one, and if you watch if you watch the regular porn site, the men always are the woman always, most of the time, unless the woman squirt, then you can see her come. But most of the time, the woman just makes these moaning sounds. But my guess is they did not come, because It wasn't really for them. Now, if you watch the dominatrix side, the harder core porn, oh my God, the woman comes like crazy. I mean, like, they are the one that come. The one that we saw yesterday, I didn't see the men coming. So that's a huge, even that, it shows there, it looks like the guy is wailing at this woman and being so abusive, but actually it's all for her pleasure.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, even though we don't see it that way. It's interesting.
Yeah. And you say it makes sense, but I actually I'm guessing that it might not make sense to a lot of people, because for a woman to say, please me, and this is my pleasure, and this is what I want, and I want you to put your hands on my throat, and I want you to tighten it there. I want you to know how my body works, how much pain I can tolerate. It's like, oh my gosh, for us to say all that stuff and to design that with the guy, that is like a lot of power there, right?
Yeah.
How often does a woman get to say, honey, twist my nipples and Okay, so we must finally get to me being a dominatrix, though. So back on track.
Yeah, I'm still curious about that. Let's hear about that.
Okay. So I firmly believe that you can't be a good top unless you're a good bottom. So because I've gotten to a place where I feel like I'm a really good bottom, so now I'm allowing myself to learn what a top does. So a top is a dominatrix. So I've been squirrely around this for the last 2 years, and like, I got to get some training and training. Well, in San Francisco, there are several really great madam who would train people to become dominatrix. So I asked around for the best one, and I was referred to Madame Cleo Dubois, and I asked her to teach me, and she agreed, and so she agreed to do a guided play for me, where I got myself a partner who wants to be the submissive one, so I get to be the dominant, and she guided me in the play. So we spent
acting lessons or voice lessons.
Yes, totally. Oh, maybe in this case, I think it's more like cooking lesson.
Chop it this way, not that way.
That's right, exactly. So it was so awesome. It was just like, and we got to use her dungeon. Oh my God, Darla, she has a dungeon. I can't tell you what a great thing that is. Like her husband, as an anniversary gift, gifted her a dungeon.
Wow.
So
it's like the playland for the sex.
Yeah, he converted their garage, into a dungeon. So he made it all dark and safe and warm and cozy, and then they have all the tools on the walls. I mean, this is a well-made dungeon. It's got everything. It's got a nice bench, bed, what is it? The thing that kids play on, a swing, a nice swing, a body swing, so that you can lay on there and get yourself all strapped up and everything, and it's got probably 20 kinds of whips and 30 kinds of, handcuffs and sensation tools. I mean, it is an intense dungeon. Designed just to create pleasure for both sides, So anyway, so we play in her dungeon, and my partner actually happened to be a woman. So I'd never thought about dominating women before, and so this was like a totally new thing for me. That like I'm totally thrilled at the opening of this, because what I'm learning in working with my partner was that women have gotten so powerful and so competent that we don't have a safe place to surrender to, and we can't really let our hair down and be taken care of and be be treated poorly with so much respect, so that we can reclaim ourselves. And so it was so incredible. 3 women working together to help my partner have her breakthrough, and she had like 3 amazing breakthroughs in our play that, oh my God, just healed lifetimes of hurt and pain for her. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my training was, it was so exquisite. It was like, I was in the dungeon with Madame Cleo, and she would tell me, okay, here's where you would sit for power, and here, we start the session with a collar ceremony. And I'm like, a color ceremony? Like, are we going to color, like coloring or what, you know?
What is it?
And a collar ceremony is when you have your submissive kneel on the ground and give us her neck, you know, present her neck and ask to be collared, like put a collar around as if like I own you in this 2 hours. This is how she signifies herself giving over her power to us so that we can serve her. So it's a completely conscious play. It's not blind, you know, like she's completely at choice. So anyway, so we picked out a collar that was exactly perfectly for her, you know, and we gave her a pet name, and it was just so amazing.
Wow. I'm getting a visual of all this, and then I'm thinking, like, in my head, it's almost like a production, and I'm wondering, like, do people typically have like an interest in role playing in terms of, you know, being an actor or an actress? Do you know what I'm?
Yeah, it's most of it is mind play, and then there's body play, and body play and sensation play, and then it could also involve sexual play. But as a dominatrix, in general, we don't have sex with our client, because when you have sex, well, in general, you just don't have sex. I'm not talking professional here. I'm talking in top-bottom play, okay? In top-bottom play, you can have sex with each other. But as professional, my understanding is you don't have sex with your client, because if you do, you lose your power.
Huh.
Which is even more fun, right? But like if I was dominating a man, he may ask permission to play with himself, you know, at my feet after we have opened him up so much that he just wants that sexual release. You know, he may ask for that. And if I feel like it, or if I want to reward him with it, then I may grant him that permission, but I may not. I may just send him home, you know, without that pleasure, and may give him some other homework that would heighten and continue the play and the dominance for him.
Wow. And how do you decide that?
It's all intuitive and sacred work. I mean, it was so interesting. I mean, like it's just, you get so connected to each other and to the moment, what the person needs. You just kind of know. Like there's this one part where my partner had so much breakthrough that I just knew that I needed to hold her. So I granted her the permission to come so I can hold her. And as I held her, her body started shaking. And then she started crying. And just lifetime of stuff came out. I'm not going to share what her share was, but she just had this huge thing that came out in her relationship with her parents that she had held all these years. And she's a powerful woman. And she worked through this stuff over and over again in other mediums, and yet this allowed it to come out. And it was just incredible. I didn't know that's what was going to happen.
In a whole different way than it probably ever had before.
In a whole different way that it ever had before. Honey, let's take a deep breath. Let's take a break, a really quick break, so that we can breathe and get ourselves grounded. And I will open the line. I see my loyal fan is here, so I'll open the line and include him on the phone. And anyone else who'd like to call in for the show, please call, and we'll invite you into the conversation. The phone number is 646-200-0813. 646-200-0813.
May is always looking for new angles on sex and lies to raise our consciousness. If you have ideas for a show, please contact her at may@mayvucoach.com. That's MAI@MAIVUcoach.com. Or go to her page on Facebook, Sex, Lies, and Consciousness. While there, please like her page and add your suggestion.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Welcome back, everyone. So, Peter, your mic is open. Welcome to the call.
All right. Thank you.
And hold on a second. I also got someone else here, so let me see who this person is. Hi there. Your 303 number?
Stephen.
Stephen! Oh, my goodness. Stephen is we have never played before, but he is a master himself. So welcome to the call, Stephen and Peter.
Hi.
Darla, back
Thank
to you. You lead us to the next question or the next thing.
Well, I'm guessing that there's some comments or some feedback that people are calling in about. So I would just open it up to that.
Okay, comments from Peter and Stephen.
Yeah.
Sure. I've done some of this play myself, so I was with you. But imagining some callers are hearing all this and they're excited but don't know how to try it themselves without a dungeon, without collars and handcuffs and all that stuff. So I thought we could talk about what are some sort of beginner steps people could take to start playing with this, and maybe how to talk to a partner who hasn't heard this call and doesn't really know what it's about.
Yeah.
That was my interest.
That's so good. Thank you. That's a great place that we should go to. Shall we go there? So, how did you do it, Peter? How did you introduce your playmate into this arena?
Well, I guess one example I can use is she was simply ready. I seem to use that word a lot, but we had talked about quite a few things beginning when we had first met, and it became apparent that she was open to all kinds of things, and I just told her about it, and I took her to a place that met regularly.
Wait a second. That was a really great point. I just wanted to get that first. This was Stephen was talking, by the way. So what I'm hearing, Stephen, is that it starts with talking. It starts with conversation. It starts with, hey,
sure.
Do you like, tell me about your sexual preferences. Do you like this? Do you like that? What are you hoping for? I like to do this. I mean, are you open to that? It starts with an honest conversation.
Oh, yes, lots of talking.
Lots of talking and lots of patience and very little judgment if possible. This is a very scary arena. Whenever you enter this arena, lots of old stuff and lots of unconscious stuff comes up. So if they have a little charge around that, be patient with them because they don't know and it scares them. And they've been told that they should be scared about this area. And then both sides are really scared to approach this, so we could end up judging ourselves or being really harsh on each other that we don't need to be. So just know that this is a really fun and exciting and amazing arena, and everybody has some kind of desire in this arena, but they have been clamped down for so long. We need to just be patient and let them come out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking I've been lucky enough to have people to play with who are immediately into it. I've never had the challenge of working with someone through their first time playing.
Yeah.
My experience has also not been. I guess I just want people to hear this. It hasn't been so formal. Like it hasn't been a full negotiation and then a full scene. And I'm curious about that, but so far it's been sort of integrated more with, I guess you'd call it vanilla sex.
Yeah.
Like where she'll say like, "Hey, will you, choke me gently?" And I go, "Oh, like are you into that?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then I'll say, "Here, it's a real example. It's like, okay, I'm like, will you squeeze my leg if I'm choking you too hard?" So like, sort of in real time, like building that safety.
Yeah.
And then like trying a little bit at a time, and then playing with like tying her up and seeing how that is.
Yeah.
For me, it's just been like one step at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and so I want to encourage spontaneity, and I also want to encourage lots of talking and designing. I know that most of the time it kind of stumbles that way, and I really think the more we get into the habit of being conscious about this and really, especially get the safe word down and get a clear yes/no down, so that way people have a place to be safe in. Because safety is most important, and then negotiation is right after that. So a suggested safe word is like, don't use the word no, because no is a very erotic word in hard play. You know, it's like no, and that just means yes in this play. So use the word like red or yellow. So it's like green is keep going, red is stop, all game ends. Nothing, we don't go forward. Yellow means really negotiate. You know, stop right there, and I want to renegotiate. I want to negotiate or guide you to how best to please me. So those things are really important to have in play before you play.
Yeah, I agree. When I've played without that clarity, it's hard because you can't. It's both about safety, and also you can't fully let go into the game.
Yeah.
You know, as when I've been in that place as a dom, I'm always sort of wondering, like, is this okay? Is this okay?
Yeah.
And I can't play full out.
Yeah.
I'm too busy monitoring.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't, if you can't create, you can't a mind game. Now it's about you. Now you're being abusive. You can step into that because you don't really know your partner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the negotiation, I found it's like it takes some time to get comfortable with it, but it's surprisingly it's not that hard. Is what I'm trying to say. It's like with negotiations, I'll share some desires. She'll share some.
Yeah.
And then I'll share some, and then she'll share some, and then usually we'll land on one. It's like, oh, one example is like I was playing with a woman, and she's like, I want to be a slave, but I don't want to be disrespected.
Yeah.
I was like really curious. I'm like, okay. It's like, what does that mean? Like, you don't want to be like humiliated or like what? And she was sort of explaining what that was.
Yeah.
And then we sort of stumbled on the scene just by talking about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I have Patricia on the line. I'm so excited. Patricia, welcome to the show, and give me your question.
I've been married for 18 years, and I'm really needing something to bring back the excitement. How would I introduce this into my life? How do we get started, and then would it reinvent our sex life?
Well, I'll start with the last question first. Yes, totally. It will make it so much harder and more fun.
Okay.
It starts with a conversation with your partner, Patricia. Really just like take all the business and the children and the grandchildren away, and just like, honey, I really want us to reconnect and really want us to play and like find our sex again. Do you want that with me? To get his buy-in first. And then tell him your desire. Like, gosh, I'd love to be taken by you, or I'd love it if you yank on my hair when we have sex, or that that I can be your pet. I can just like spend the whole night just servicing you. Like, offer yourself up as either a sub, a submissive, or as a top. Like, or if you want to, my guess I'll stop right there. How does that sound so far?
It's something I can do.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I think that I could do it, and that I could get a lot of pleasure and enjoyment out of that. Even in the conversation, bringing up the conversation with him, that and he would be open to it.
Yeah. Oh, goody.
Because we're struggling right now. We are really struggling in that department right now.
Yeah. And so tell me, like, do you see yourself as a top or as a bottom? Like, what makes your toes curl?
As a top, I'm very much control person.
Yeah. Being controlling in life doesn't mean that you want to be the top in sex play.
No, I like to be in control in the sex life.
All right. She knows what she's all about. Okay. So, and what is it that you would really love to experience?
I would like to. My experience would be that I'd like to come away with like that, and totally breathless, and say that I've released myself from the traditional sex ways and found pleasure in it. Wow.
Okay. And do you envision yourself, flogging someone, flogging your partner, or tying him up? Like, what's your modality that's calling to you?
I would probably tie him up and blindfold him.
Uh-huh. And then doing things to him.
That's correct.
Woo-hoo! Honey, you are a natural at this thing.
It really sounds like you know what you want.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
It really sounds like you know what you want.
I think I've had enough years of thinking about it.
You're ready to
and thinking about that, and now it's like, okay, you know what, our sex life is really in the tank right now, and I need to do something to bring it back. And I know that it's up to me, because the reason why it's up to me is because his manhood won't let him admit that things have gone awry, and I'm not about to reduce his manhood in letting it go awry. I need to think of a way to bring it back, and bring it back in a compassionate way.
Oh, honey, you make my heart just swell up. Oh, my God.
You go, girl.
So sweet.
Thank you.
Well, what I get from that is how much you're dedicated to this man, and how much you love him, and so want to support and create that space for him to be your king.
Right.
I totally get that. Yeah.
You're ready.
Now I just need to get started. I need to come that direction and get a training course so that I can like I don't mind going into I went to North Carolina, and I walked into this porn store and was like, okay, I would like to take this, and this, and walk out, and I was like giddy like a teenager. And it was like okay with me, and I brought it all home and showed my husband, look at what I found. These are great.
Oh.
And he was like, okay.
Well,
nothing to lose.
I can fly out to you, and then you can bring your man and a couple other people, and we could just do like an evening workshop and get you guys all hot and horny and ready for each other again.
That would be very good. If I could, most of my friends are not like me. I don't know if I could get them to do this, but I know that I could get my husband to do it, because I know that he wants to do whatever he can to satisfy me, and he knows that right now that that's not happening.
Yeah. Oh, honey, you guys are going to have a great 2012. This is a great intention that you're holding, and you're going to make it. And I'm right here, so you just let me know how I can support you.
Okay, thank you.
one of the things, Patricia, you said that I want to reiterate for all the listeners out there is that it is in the woman's hands. So for so long we keep shoving this responsibility onto the man, and then we run from it, and then we make the man bad and wrong. Like if they come at us for sex, then we label them, you're a sex addict, or you want too much sex, you're always in my face. We don't take responsibility for it. What I hear you're stepping into, Patricia, is so beautiful. It's like you're like, I want to do something. I'm an active player here, and I want to support my man so that he can be in his full manhood, so that we can right this relationship, up, so that we can have that thriving sex life. I'm responsible for this, not just him, or not just sit there and play the victim card. So I want to highlight that and applaud you for that.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness. We have 10 minutes left. What should we talk about? What else do you want to know? Or Darla, what about you, and where are you going with all this?
I'm kind of all over the map with it. Like my brain is circling around like, what is this all about? And
what's it stirring up inside you, honey?
Oh, just a lot of curiosity and interest. I think I just am so fascinated that there is like this, and I want to say again, this light side to it, really shedding a light on to something that I think we perceive as being a very dark arena. And for me, that's very refreshing. I just find it refreshing to see something being held in such a positive, healthy way. I think I'm sure there's a lot of where it is really dark, but it's good that there's people that are engaging in this in such a positive, good way.
Yeah, and I wanted to say too that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to shine the light onto this, and I also want to say that what I've said so far is really light. There's so much depth to this work. There's so much psychology and so much. It goes deep into our psyche, and it helps us undo a lot of old crap that we got as a child or as a young age or whatever, And this arena can be really misused. I know it has, and I'm sure that when people were learning about something as powerful as this tool, they probably broke a lot of stuff. It's kind of like this is like wizard school. Like if we go into a dungeon that has all the Merlin stuff, and we're vanilla people learning to be Merlins with this stuff, we probably broke something and created some bad spell and made turned someone into a frog and we didn't mean to, or really hurt someone. And so I do get that has existed or has been, but I do know that what I discover and the people that I've met who are serious in this scene, in this arena, have always been amazingly deep, amazingly respectful to the human race and the human body, and they're so respectful that they dedicate their life to exquisitely, learn about all these tools that they have so that they can create pleasure for us. It's incredible. I haven't met a cute young person, vanilla sex kind of person that dedicates that much time to my pleasure ever before. I've like in the vanilla sex world, I think it's very irresponsible. We don't negotiate well, and then we try to get a relationship out of it, and there's just all craziness in there. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from this world.
Well, I'm learning. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I just said I agree.
Yeah, I'm just a ton. My mind is like so open, and my imagination is running wild. I'm getting visuals.
Stephen, since you have been in this world a lot longer than I have been, you want to add anything to the conversation?
Oh, sure. Patricia is getting to the point of things aren't feeling so good, and yet you're so ready for new things. So this is a very good portal for that. Can lead to all kinds of different things, and I'm sure that you're going to find all kinds of new stuff this year. That's how May put it, and all kinds of doors will be opening in things that don't even have to do with sex or domination. Just becoming aware of your surroundings and a lot of things like that. I noticed that right away when I did.
That made me think of so next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, I'm going to take the Pro Dominatrix course that Madame Cleo Dubois is teaching. She also has couples course where she will teach you the couple to play like a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, once or twice in a year. So I could very easily give you her information that you can look up the website, and then you guys can take a trip to San Francisco and have a little over here.
I think I could get my husband to break away from work to do that and to say, because I've offered before, to say, you know what, I will offer you to somebody if you, and not trying to take anything away from our marriage,
right,
but to say, if you want to go out to Las Vegas and if you want to go to one of those ranches, I will take you there. I am okay with it. I am very good with my sexuality and where I'm at in his life. Does that make sense? I'm not threatened.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You are like light years ahead, honey. I'm so glad that you're on the call today and you share your voice. And will you just like give the audience a little bit about your demographic, where you live, and what your background is, so that people can really get that? Oh my gosh.
I'm just a normal person. I'm in Katy, Texas, and I'm a realtor, and I'm a property manager.
Yeah.
And I lead the only things I do for fun is I hand make Christmas cards every year. I know. I'm really boring.
No, you're not. You're amazing. So, Patricia managed properties in Texas for me, and so I'm so grateful to know her. And I have to tell you, you just blow me away with questions. And I never thought that, my reach would be, the first reach would be in Katy, Texas. I had different opinion about Katy, Texas.
But we always have a house for you to come to here.
Yes. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for being on the show today and for putting light to this subject. I am so grateful. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Dala, for jumping in today and being my interviewer, and Peter and Stephen for joining the call. It's I'm so grateful that you're here supporting me to get this message out.
And May, I'm real curious.
You're welcome.
What's your
thank you, dear May.
Yeah, thank you. What was that, Dala?
I'm curious about what your next topic will be.
Oh, thank you. Next week, at the same time, I will have my dear friend Lance and his partner Blake. Lance and Blake have been a gay couple for a few decades now. They have an open relationship, and they are very committed to each other. And they recently have done a research with their community to interview gay couples on what it takes to create a lasting relationship while you open it up, while you support each other in really nurturing and developing your sexuality. So they're going to come and share with me and us their story, their personal story, and also what they found in their study. So I'm really excited to have them here next week for that show. Thank you for asking. All right, everyone, thank you for listening to my show, Sex, Lies, and Consciousness, the voice of healthy sex. My ultimate goal is to help us get a hold of our sex, own it, play with it, have power over it, and let it fully serve us and bring us joy and freedom. Thank you again for being on the show today, everyone, and I will talk to you next time. Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Namaste. Bye-bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye-bye.